This is Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of Dub Nation is having a phenomenal weekend. After a slow couple days that started NBA free agency for Golden State, it's really started to pick up steam over the last couple of days. And on today's show, some really fascinating rumors pertaining to the reigning champions. Do the Warriors have an interest in making a trade for Patrick Beverley? Could they include Andrew Wiggins and a couple of other pieces in a deal that would bring Pascal Siakam for the Toronto Raptors to the Golden State Warriors? I would personally say no to that deal. And also, Golden State did lose a respected coach who is going to the Sacramento Kings. Who is it? We'll tell you coming up in just a few moments. But first, Warriors Today just surpassed 1 million video views over the last month. We're going for 2 million, and we picked up thousands of subscribers over the last couple of weeks following the NBA draft and throughout NBA free agency. And what do you know? A great rivalry on the floor in the NBA is also a great rivalry inside the walls here at Chat Sports. A couple of months ago, it seemed impossible that Warriors Today would ever catch the Lakers report in terms of subscribers. They're 11,000 away, 47 plus to 36 plus. If you want to stay in the know with the best Warriors coverage all year long throughout free agency and the draft period, we've been pushing out multiple videos per day. Just hit that red subscribe button or plug in that link, youtube.com/WarriorsTV, as we continue to grow the Dub Nation family here at Chat Sports. So we start off with some Warriors rumors here. Patrick Beverley, could he be traded from the Utah Jazz to the reigning NBA champions? He was included in that Rudy Gobert trade going from Minnesota to Utah, and Beverley now being discussed as a potential Warriors trade candidate. Beverley traded to the Jazz, as I talked about in that Gobert deal, kind of needed to be in that because of his salary. 1 year left, $13 million, and the value of the player. You have to figure if the Jazz are going to build around Donovan Mitchell and they don't trade him away, then Patrick Beverley would be a really good player on that roster. A team last year and over the last couple of years that's consistently made it to the playoffs, but their defense has been atrocious, and that's the specialty of Patrick Beverley. Now, there are a couple of connections here between Beverley and the Warriors. He has a great relationship with Steph Curry, but also Marcus Thompson, who does a great job covering the Dubs, said this: Pat Bev is due $13 million in the final year of his deal. If somehow he does not want to play in Utah and he gets bought out, basically with the ... look out. Marcus Thompson continued with another tweet as he threaded this: I have zero reason to believe he wouldn't want to play in Utah. I just know how he feels about the Golden State Warriors. The ultimate competitor, the ultimate winner, potentially going to a team that has no problems with winning, making deep playoff runs, and bringing back NBA championships. So we'll continue to dive into this, but first I want to hear from you in the comment section right now. Should the Warriors trade for Patrick Beverley? Would you like to see him in a Warriors uniform? Give me a T for trade or a P for pass. Sound off and get those votes in. As for what Beverley did this past year, the three-point numbers were down. Historically, he's been a better three-point shooter than the 34% figure on your screen right here. But you know what he's going to bring night in and night out. Competitiveness. He's a dog, he's a foxhole guy, and he is not a guy you want to meet in a back alley brawl. 9 points per game, 4.5 assists, right around 4 rebounds as well. He's always playing passing lanes. He's always going up against some of the best opposing offensive players in the NBA. This guy is really special for what he brings to the floor, given that he's somewhat of a limited player. As for if Beverley is going to play for the Jazz this year or not, this coming from the Salt Lake Tribune, Patrick Beverley is absolutely out of his gourd when he's on the court, making insanely positive defensive energy plays and fouling with essentially equal rapidity. But that's a skill set that, frankly, the Jazz could have used over the last few years. Could they keep him? Sure. Could they trade him to the next team desperate for perimeter defensive toughness? Certainly. Now, P-Bev has said this in the past. Steph Curry, while on the court, they have a little bit of a rivalry because they're both great competitors, and Steph Curry, one of the greatest players of this generation and one of the best of all time. It's a great rivalry to see play out, and oftentimes Beverley is defending Steph Curry. But he did say on JJ Redick's podcast recently that Steph is, quote, like a brother. So there is that connection there, there is that kinship, and there is that friendship. And when you think about Beverley, him always yapping out at opposing players, never scared to start an argument or a physical confrontation. Can you imagine him and the bigger version of Patrick Beverley gracing the floor together, sharing the floor together. And I'm talking about Draymond Green. These guys have just an unbelievable level of competitive nature running through their veins, and they will stop at nothing to win basketball games. So to see Bev at the guard spot and Dre at the forward spot on the floor together, it would make one of the league's best defenses from last year even better, even more tenacious, and even more ferocious. Now, we're only getting started on today's show. Next up, could Golden State trade for Pascal Siakam? I'm going to tell you about a trade idea I saw on the internet that was kind of insane and something that I would never do because it includes Andrew Wiggins, and I thought this past year, making it to his first All-Star game, being the Warriors' second best player in the NBA Finals, he's a guy you want to extend even though he's going to cost a lot going into the final year of his deal. But first, if you want to see defensive savagery on the Golden State Warriors with both Draymond Green and Patrick Beverley, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If you want no part of Beverley, let me know why and list it out in the comment section right now. So here is that aforementioned trade idea that would bring Pascal Siakam to the Warriors, as well as a 2023 second-round pick, which, frankly, I don't think the Warriors really need. This is coming from Heavy.com, and the Raptors, in turn, would get back Andrew Wiggins, who goes back to his home country of Canada to play for Toronto, the player development factory. It would be a cool story, but why would the Warriors trade him away? They also send away Moses Moody and a 2023 first-round pick, which is top 8 protected. That right there is too much for Pascal Siakam, considering the rise of Andrew Wiggins, the potential of Moses Moody, and if I'm getting Siakam back, there's no way I'm including a first-round pick in that deal either. Now, that's not to say Siakam is not a really good player. He's one of the best in the NBA at his position when you talk about versatile players who get it done offensively and defensively, and his body type is fascinating as well. 22-plus points per game this past year, 8.5 rebounds, 5-plus dimes. He's really just a do-it-all stat stuffer. 49% from the field, and a respectable 34% from three. This is also a player who the Warriors would really like because he loves the devotion to his craft. He loves improving upon his foundation. This is a guy who was identified in Cameroon by Masai Ujiri as a really raw prospect who is a really good athlete, and over time, he's been able to become a really good basketball player. But after you just watched Andrew Wiggins do what he did, not just in the NBA Finals, but throughout the entire NBA playoffs, and the momentum that he has to his game, how good of a fit he is, the complementary nature in which he's able to carry himself with, and the confidence he now has, why would you trade him away? I'd rather keep and pay Andrew Wiggins, which is going to be something in the neighborhood of what Pascal Siakam is making right now, and he's under team control like Wiggins would be with the contract extension. And I also love the potential of Moses Moody as a guy who can become a very good three-point shooter down the road. And you look at what Wiggins was able to do this past year, on top of him being an elite defender, and I thought he really stifled Jason Tatum throughout the finals in an impressive way. He also is getting better as an offensive player, and I think he's really good with the length, athleticism, kind of versatility to his craft, playing alongside Steph Curry, Draymond Green, as well as Klay Thompson. 17 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 2+ dimes, and he connected on nearly 47% of his field goals. So I know we've talked about Andrew Wiggins trade rumors before. The real ones know that I've always said I would never trade away Andrew Wiggins because I think he's a really valuable piece on a championship team. Will he ever live up to the expectations of being that number one pick? Probably not. But this guy on a championship team just proved how valuable of an asset he is. He oftentimes is included in these trade ideas and these trade discussions because of the fact that it is a salary matcher. But I really like Wiggins. I like the growth that's taken place. I would not trade him away. But who do you think would win this trade? Some of you out there might be a big Pascal Siakam fan, and I think he would play alongside this current core. Let me know in the comment section right now. GSW for the Warriors, TOR for the Toronto Raptors. One last note to pass along. The Warriors have lost Kenny Atkinson. No, he's back, actually. They lost Mike Brown, is what I meant to say, to the Sacramento Kings, and now they're losing another assistant coach who is following Mike Brown to the Sacramento Kings. Kenny Atkinson was going to leave. He originally took the job to be the head man for the Charlotte Hornets, but he actually came back to the Warriors. But this is kind of a big loss on this coaching staff and on this entire organization and team that's seen some turnover throughout free agency and on the bench. Golden State Warriors player development coach Leandro Barbosa, former Warrior, is accepting an offer to be an assistant coach for the Sacramento Kings under Mike Brown. And he's really been instrumental in some of the player development that we've seen over the last couple of years. So when you lose a guy like this, it certainly is a big loss. Now, you see the name and you know him formerly as a player, not much as a player development guy and as a guy on this coaching staff. But when you win championships, other coaches on that bench besides Steve Kerr are going to get interviews. Teams are going to go after them. And this is the reality of winning NBA championships. Your coaches get poached as well as your players. And also those players leave to get more money in free agency like we've seen with Gary Payton II and Otto Porter Jr. Before we get out of here on this particular segment, appreciate all the support here on Warriors Today. If you haven't subscribed, do so right now. It's youtube.com/WarriorsTV.